Is Cartethia in trouble? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be explaining that. Explaining why I think Cartethia could be in trouble.
Now, let's start off by simply explaining how and where and why I believe that is the case. And here's going to be a clip of it right here. And may I also remind you too, it is quite ominous.
The Threnodian's frequency has vanished from Septimont, but I fear this is far from over. There is something else. Perhaps due to the dark tide in the Sonoro, I can feel my balance shifting. The Threnodian's pull is growing stronger.
What Cartethia is trying to explain is that during her time in the Sonoro, specifically with the dark tide, she was experiencing some sort of negative impact simply just being exposed to it, which is reference to her balance shifting negatively. She had also mentioned too that the Threnodian's grip on her, or quote-unquote pull, is beginning to get stronger. Now, to further cement this claim I have, this is where Mia's interaction with the Lady of the Sea, or the Threnodian, comes into play. When she was talking to, the Threnodian had mentioned that Cartethyia and Mia, they were considered its creations.
You, Cartethyia, both my daughters, my very creations.
This could only possibly mean that Cartethyia might still have a neural soul connection that is binding her to the Threnodian. Let's take Mia's tragic backstory into consideration. It was created to harness its power, but of course, for whatever reason, she couldn't do it. However, she still chose to live almost a normal life, but deep down in her psyche, she was fighting a constant war with the Threnodian. And after some long period of time of fighting and constantly mentally exhausted, it drove her to the point of desperation, and she chose to just end her life right then and there. And the Threnodian, of course, also confirmed that Mia was one of those failed resonators.
Still lingering, Mia. A fading reverberation that should have dissolved in the deep long ago.
Now, why is this exactly relevant to Cartethia being in trouble? Is because Cartethia was also created by the Threnodian too, because of her dialogue that she mentioned. She can feel a strong pull from the Threnodian. My prediction is that Cartethia and Mia, they both have a connection to the Threnodian. However, Mia was created before Cartethia. He eventually ended her life, cutting off that connection that the Threnodian had. And eventually, over time, the Threnodian created Cartethia, which was supposed to replace Mia. Now, fast forward to the arrival of Septimont, we finally destroyed the new rebinding connection that Mia's body has with the Threnodian, effectively cutting off it for good this time. However, the Threnodian still has one more connection pathway, and that is Cartethia, which means Cartethia can easily fall prey to the same fate that Mia had to deal with, which is of course alluded to her dialogue by saying that she feels a strong pull from the Threnodian, and including her balance is beginning to shift, which means that the Threnodian knows that it's the only connection that it only has left. And let me just back up by saying, yes, I do know of the other factors that also could play a role in this. Example, Cristoforo, the Fraxidus, Frolova, and simply just the Sonaro itself, or including Central Hub. The Threnodian wasn't actually out for destruction at all. It really just wanted the knowledge and information that the Sentinel had that was stored inside the Central Hub, which is why Mia was attempting to fight back the connection, because the Threnodian wanted to use her and to find out where that Central Hub is to access the most valuable information Sentinel to safeguard and keep. Also, another piece of evidence that could also back up my claim on this connection theory is when Cartethyia was comparing the creature or the beast's frequency to her very own.
The monster leaving its trace in the dark tide. I can feel it. Its frequency is similar to my own. The Threnodian created me to be a resonator for its power. But I wasn't the only one. Many vessels before me failed.
I personally like to believe that Cartethia's time on the spotlight, she will have more on the spotlight, because after what she explained to us, what's currently going on with her during the last few moments of the 2.4 main. But on a high note is that Cartethia sort of left us with a more questions more than exactly that are answered than usual. Like, what happened to her when she was inside the Sonaro? What did she see? Like maybe she's not exactly telling us like the full extent of what really happened in there. And of course, she still doesn't know about other things, including like the resonators that fell before her that tried to harness the power of the Thenodian. And did she know about Mia long before Thenodian ever tell her? There's many more questions about this, but what do you guys think in the comments down below? I would like to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on this topic and in this issue. I just wanted to make a video on this because mainly like this was the main key thing I should take out from the 2.4 main quest. It was amazing and fantastic, but it was sort of the end that sort of really caught my eye and maybe made me really want to make this video too, so people can also understand too like what the future will hold for Cartethyia and moving on, and where could the game or where the developers could also take this on. So yep. Hope you guys enjoy my little theory theory video, and also first one ever too. Be sure guys like, comment, sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one.